Hello, thank you for joining me today. In this session, we're going to be talking about the coronavirus situation, how it affects you guys as MSPs, and hopefully providing you with some input on how potentially you can help. So stay tuned. Hi there, James here from the channel team. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. I'm really thrilled so many of you could join me. Normally I just do stuff with my partners in my regions that I manage. We've extended this out to the wider community, so it's great to have people from all around the world joining us. Obviously, I do wish it was under better circumstances. You know, this coronavirus situation is... what can you say? It's quite simply horrific, and it's affecting us both on a personal level and on a business level. And I think what we can do right now is really concentrate on working out how we survive, how we get through this period, and when this thing is over, how we prepare our businesses for making sure that we hit the ground running when we're out the other side. I want to let you know that we understand what you're going through, basically. I know you're looking at, you've got this initial flurry of work around remote working, but for many of you, you're looking at how to, not lay off staff. Potentially you've got customers in sectors that may be, unwilling to spend, so you're having to cope with that. So I just wanted to put on a live stream. I like live video anyway. I think it's a good medium to just get across a more kind of human element. I wanted to put a bit more of a human side to the brand and let you know that we are here and we do actually care. In terms of being an IT support company in this phase, in this situation, I hope you're in a better position than many, for example. So the very fact that some of your services, I hope, are recurring. And of course, you're providing a service that people really need right now. You're almost one of the emergency services to an extent. So it's a better time than for some, but I realise it's still a very difficult time for you. So it's important that vendors like us are here not just when it's time to talk about new sales and that kind of thing. That we actually we're here to help in the tough times too. So that's why we put on this session. It's not about selling. It's just about showing you a few different ways we can help and hopefully providing some good advice. I'm going to try and keep this to around about 35 minutes. I went well over on the last session, so I'm going to be mindful of that and try and keep it in check. Just a few housekeeping points. Well, first of all, let me just check. Can you all see and hear me okay? Because that would be the first thing I think I should look at. I hope there's a slight delay on the chat, but hopefully you can let me know. In terms of housekeeping, great. Joan at CNC, terrific to have you along as always, our Canadian distributor for MailStore. Good to see you there. That's great. So you can ask questions as you go along. Feel free to just pop in. John, excellent. Long time no speak. John, one of our UK MSP IT support companies. Terrific you could make it. That's really good. Yeah, as I was saying, just feel free, pop in the chat, and when I can, I'll grab them. I've got a couple of colleagues there, hopefully who can help as well with any questions as we go along. But we will have a Q&A at the end, so that will just be a nice open session. And ideally, I don't want to be talking at you constantly. I'd like to make it a bit back and forth. So let's try and do that. I deliberately didn't have any registration attached to this session. So what I wanted was that it was just an open one. And if you do want to have a copy of the recording, and there'll be quite a few links I'm going to mention in this presentation. So if you want a copy of the recording and you want the links, all you need to do is send an email to partners@mailstore.com. And if I have a look, hopefully that will flash up a nice big, for those of you who could do with it really spelling out. You can't really miss that, I don't think. Just pop us a quick email with a one line in. I was on the webinar. Please send me the follow up. And it's not about having a sales follow up. It's just about making sure that you've got the recording. So, in terms of MailStore, I won't go into this in too much detail, but we've had to adapt. So we quite early on we've shifted to remote working. So our Dusseldorf pretty much Dusseldorf-based workforce around that area have all moved to home working positions now. And the main message for you is it's definitely business as usual. So in terms of technical support, they've done an amazing job to maintain the same level of support. Same with customer service. And I'm really glad that we made that early decision to switch and managed to iron out all the creases. So it should be pretty much business as usual. The partner team, which is what I'm part of, we're facing a bit of a change as well. We're normally gearing up to work with distributors and resellers and talking about events and what support we can provide and all that kind of stuff. And things have changed. Our roles are going to change quite significantly. I think we're going to need to adapt to a more digital way of working. The reason I'm telling you this is because now is a great time to talk to us. If you've got ideas, you need input, particularly with webinars and help with demonstrations, any virtual events you're putting on, we're on hand. The full team are here. Work with, communicate that with your distributors. Everything I'm saying in this session, I'm assuming that if you're working with a distributor, you'll work with them, talk to them about these things, and they'll talk to us. But yeah, we're happy to provide training, for example. So if you've got staff maybe that aren't at full capacity, now is a good time to be building their skills, whether it's on MailStore or something totally unrelated, to make sure that you're ready for what's coming when we get out the other side. In terms of engineering, we've got some pretty exciting stuff on the horizon, actually. I don't know if you have a look at our newsletters, but our CEO, Philip, dropped a couple of hints about what's coming. We're going to have a focus on cloud, and there's going to be some enterprise stuff in there as well. So I can't go into too much more detail about it, or I'll be in trouble with the various powers that be. But yeah, needless to say, we've got some exciting plans ahead, and that is all going. That's all moving along still. So the engineering team are working well remotely. In terms of how you can potentially, or how we can help you in just daily business, I know that when in these difficult times, email archiving probably wasn't the first thing you thought about when we sort of realised what situation we were in. But it's only a matter of time before we do need to think about email archiving. If you've got customers that are using it already, there will be certain things, around administration and renewals and all that sort of stuff. So we want it to be as frictionless as possible for you at the moment. We know you're incredibly busy. So we've got a partner portal. If you work directly with us, it's likely that your distributors will have as well. I know lots of them do, and any that don't anyway provide a brilliant sort of personal service. So lean on them. Feel free to lean on us, lean on them. We'll do the legwork in terms of the producing quotes and that kind of stuff, or do it via the partner portal around the clock. So use those sort of things to make your life easier. And let's say you've got trials out there with customers, then obviously in times like this, we haven't got a formal policy on this right now, but it goes without saying that these are exceptional times, and if you need additional time for a customer, then just speak to us, speak to your distributor, and we'll apply common sense, provided it's for a genuine reason. Then we can extend trials and make life easier for you that way. Renewals, keep on top of those. Certainly, from a compatibility point of view, I think my colleague Bjoern will talk about this shortly, but compatibility, security are really important at this sort of time. And of course, making sure you get your renewals done, that is a source of income for you still. So, it's good to make sure you're tightening up all these areas and you're keeping on top of all the products and services that you have with the various vendors, because that's all important income for you right now. I realise it's not the main one. I hope not anyway, but it all contributes. So they're just a few of the kind of operational ways we can help. And I'm going to go on to talk a bit more about some sort of sales and marketing topics as well, which I hope we can provide some input with. I was pretty rude though. I didn't even introduce Bjoern. Bjoern, our product manager, is here. Let me see if I can get this right and bring you straight in, Bjoern. Let's see. Okay. Bjoern, how you doing? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm fine. Hello. Hello,
Excellent.
everybody. Hope you're doing great despite these hard times.
Excellent. Really nice to have you here rather than just doing these on my own. I'm going to check before we go any further. Can someone just let me know, is that all working okay? Can you see and hear us both? And because Björn's got some pretty interesting stuff to say and I don't want you to miss it. What we're about to do is just go through a few points. So Bjorn, we had a chat beforehand, and he's basically got five key points really to work through when it comes to talking to your customers about remote working and things you should keep an eye out for. So the top five are, well, first of all, Bjorn, you said about being on the latest version. So that's important at the moment because...
Yeah, I mean, it's hopefully pretty much self-explaining, but only with the latest version you get all the security update that you need and all the compatibilities to cloud services and everything else. So this is, from all best practices that you could apply, really the most important one: be up to date, so that in these environments that you're now facing with untrusted networks on the other side of your virtual private networks and stuff.
Yeah.
So be up to date. This would be the first rule.
Yeah, it's kind of open season now, isn't it? Really, you've got, with new environments, you've got cyber criminals having a really good time of it.
Exactly, and we are doing regularly security assessments of our software. So with the latest versions, you can be sure that everything that we found and that the tools found and the external assessors found is fixed, and you're pretty much safe and sound.
The other thing I find is that I get customers that will they won't understand that actually you need to make sure that your software is up to date in order to be compatible with the latest version. So it's quite possible that someone like Microsoft or Google will bring out an update, and it's really important that you're able to follow to update to the latest version so it works perfectly with the platform. The last thing you want right now is someone complaining saying it doesn't connect to 365 or whatever. No surprises right now would be a good thing.
Exactly.
The other point you mentioned was encrypted access. So Let's Encrypt. Do you mind just explaining where that sort of fits in and why people should use it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're installing MailStore with a new installation on a fresh machine, you get secure defaults, so everything defaults to using encryption and everything. But especially with long-term customers who have been updating again and again, there might be some configuration that don't use encryption right now. And this is something to look at and to support you with all the encryption stuff, which can be daunting at times, using all the certificate stuff and renew of certificates and everything. We've implemented Let's Encrypt support. So this is a free certificate authority that you can set up in MailStore. So it does all the downloading of official trusted certificates and the renewal stuff and everything fully on automatic. So once you have set that up, it's pretty much very free. If anything goes wrong, you get a warning on the dashboard for that. But we've monitored this use for some time now, and it's pretty exciting how smooth this is running. So this would be my second recommendation. Use encryption, Look at your profiles, look at your access to MailStore, and Let's Encrypt.
Terrific. And you mentioned about the dashboard notifications. I know we had a quick look at this earlier on. What are the things to look out for on the dashboard?
Yeah, apart from all the licensing stuff, obviously, there's the messaging section where MailStore gives you important information, not only about running jobs or archiving profiles and stuff, but also if there are security issues with your installations due to maybe older configurations and something where you didn't use encryption, maybe because the host system, the email system didn't support it and stuff. And now is the right time to look at these issues and solve them actually. And this would be the third recommendation. Don't ignore the dashboard. Look at the issues, if any that are listed there. We are continuing to provide or to analyze the environment within our application to give you more hints about this, so that you can look if there are issues in your infrastructure and resolve them.
Yeah, okay, that's really good. So in terms of spotting issues and things, I know Zen are really big on that. They're always talking about making sure you've got your status reports set up, and that was another one, wasn't it? That was another recommendation, the status reports.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, if we're talking to partners, they probably, hopefully, manage more than one installation, and yeah, having to connect to each installation remotely and keeping track of things can be pretty much daunting, if not impossible. So, the fourth recommendation would be set up your status reports in MailStore. It's just a job where you can send a status report, look that your email SMTP configuration is correct, and then get a status report for each installation at least daily to see if there are any issues with that, and then you can react without having to remotely connect to each installation to check this.
Okay, very good, very good. And last but not least, I put a video out actually a couple of weeks ago, just on LinkedIn, just making sure that people realise that they can actually, when they have customers that move to a new environment, they do actually have the option of using, say, web access or the Outlook add-in or so on. That was one of the things you were going to mention. I know there were some other reasons you might want to use web access in those environments.
I mean, web access has the advantage that it's you don't have to install anything. You just call up the website from the MailStore server, and it's just there. It's working on mobiles. It's responsive and works on all major desktop browsers. And the other advantage is because it's web-based, it's pretty low bandwidth. And if all the customers and their users are working through virtual private networks now and putting strain on bandwidth of their internet connections, I think it's advantage to work with MailStore Server with those, and also with the Outlook add-in, because they are designed for low bandwidth environments. So you can fully work with your archived emails without putting further strain on your internet connection.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of people that I think they must set up either the Outlook add-in or maybe not, maybe just use the web access and just completely forget that the other options exist. So it's amazing how many times it's worth reiterating that to customers, or people just think, okay, well I'll move to a new environment and MailStore doesn't support it, so we'll have to stop using it or whatever. So it's really worth mentioning. And as for the bandwidth, yeah, I can vouch for that. Having done some live stream stuff, bandwidth is at a premium right now. That's brilliant. Thanks for that. So there's 5 good points there. I'll put those in the email follow-up as well for people. I had a final one, just a final pointer really on the sort of the product side. With everyone moving, well, not everyone, but a large shift to the cloud, it's probably worth just noting that MailStore is equally as comfortable in, say, a hosted environment as it is, on an on-premise server. So if there's businesses that want to fully adopt remote working, and you have a hosting facility or AWS or Azure access, then that is an option to you. So yeah, don't forget that is something you can. Is something you can do. Of course, we have the service provider edition, which is designed to be multi-tenant, so you can have multiple customers on one. But there's nothing wrong with just spinning up a VM, hosting a single instance of MailStore on that, and and servicing individual customers. So Bjorn, thank you very much for that input. Can I grab you again later on for the Q&A? Is that okay?
Yes, you're welcome, of course.
Right, excellent. Okay, we'll do that. So moving on, the next section for this kind of mishmash of a webinar help session is around sales and marketing topics. So there's a lot of talk at the moment in the sort of IT communities and so on, that people are scared to be talking about the services that they offer, and they're worried about, is this a good time to be trying to sell things, or can I market my services now? So I'm just going to give you my opinion on it. And it's something that I've been reading up on. I'm on a part of a tech tribe community. Nigel Moore runs it, fantastic guy, and there's been a lot of discussion there. So it's kind of in line with what he was saying. You've basically got 3 options. You got the first one where, I guess the temptation is to want to help people for free right now, or reduce your costs, and because we're good people, hopefully, and we just want to help in these situations. The danger there is that you help too much, you don't have the cash reserves to support that kind of activity, and then potentially you end up in a difficult position or going out of business. And that, of course, is not what anyone wants. So that's option one. The second option is that you keep in touch with your customers. You make a real effort to keep in touch with your customers. You charge a fair price for a fair service that's in demand right now. And if you need to, if you bring on, additional resource, another contractor, then, you apply an increase in costs according to that. So number 3 as an option is that you bump up your costs. You do all your marketing around, fear and scaremongering. And obviously that's not what MailStore are interested in. That doesn't fit with our values. You do see it at the moment. It is happening. But, that's going to be a short-term strategy, and people are going to remember that. So, of course, it's up to you. If you're in a position to offer free services, fantastic if you can do that. But I think it's important to keep that in mind. It's absolutely fine to market your services as long as you do it in a sensitive way and you're helping people for a fair price. I think, that's my opinion. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. In terms of how you might adjust your message, now, I've just got a quick slide for you here. The messaging. So it's important to realize that some of the messages you may have used in the past might need tweaking. Right now, people have got very different priorities. You might previously have advertised, say, a free network assessment, for example, and maybe now you should be looking at the first point there. So, leading with secure remote working expertise. You may have said in the past, faster IT support, that's what makes us great. Well, maybe push Microsoft Teams project expertise, because there's a huge exodus right now to Teams. In fact, everywhere I turn, this is all I hear is Teams. It's really, really playing an important part in businesses of all sizes. Better backups, taking care of your backups is something a lot of resellers will advertise. Maybe adjust it now to business continuity planning. Really tap into what's important to some of these guys. So they're just simple tweaks really on your messaging that can really help when you're talking with customers. And I also have some tactical tips. So let's say you're on board, you want to do some marketing. That's absolutely fine. You think this is a good idea. You've adjusted your messaging. What can you actually do? And there's some pretty basic stuff that you can do pretty much right now that will hopefully see you some results. Robin Robbins runs a successful MSP marketing agency in the States, pretty huge organization actually. And one of the things she's recommending is that you contact associations. So I guess in the UK it would be like the BNI or maybe the Chamber, but this can apply anywhere around the world. And you let them know. You just reach out in a very friendly way, and you just say, look, I have expertise in remote working. I want to put on a demonstration for you, a training session for your members to let them know how they can get the most out of remote working. Our customers are up and running. We've got some capacity, and we'd love to talk to them. Make sure it's clear that you're not pitching. You can just drop them an email, say, look, we just want to help. There'll be, no hard sell. This is not about selling at all. Now, this is purely audience building. We'll jump on a one-on-one call with you, and that ability to pitch over the internet to show that you can demonstrate the functionality. And I'm seeing some resellers do some amazing jobs of this already. Just firing up Teams itself, using the live events function, and just putting on a webinar that people can join with a public link and showing their expertise. And by doing that, you're showing the product that you're training on. So it's a really good way of doing things. There's nothing wrong right now with reaching out via LinkedIn and email too. So if you've got customers, maybe you've sent quotes in the past and they've not gone anywhere, or you've got some email lists, you've got LinkedIn contacts. There's nothing wrong at all with just reaching out and saying, look, hi, first of all, obviously, I hope you're okay, and what's the situation there? But secondly, do you need any help with your remote working? Because you can guarantee right now that there's a lot of MSPs being tested, and I think anyone that's not able to cope with this demand, we're going to see some drop off of IT support companies, those who don't do a good job. And I don't think certainly in the time I've been working in this industry, I've never seen so much in the way of movement and people looking to reevaluate. There's so much of this. Paul Green, the marketing guru in the UK, he talks about this loyalty inertia. Basically, people just don't want the hassle of shifting to another IT provider. Well, now they're being forced to reevaluate that. If they're not being looked after properly, it's really obvious. So yeah, reach out via LinkedIn, check if people are being looked after properly in a very non-salesy way. Can't stress that enough. And places like Facebook groups are good for this as well. So local Facebook business groups, just get your message out there. If you just say, look, I'm running a webinar, it's going to be in a couple of days' time, and it's going to be talking about how to use Teams or how we can help, or there's nice low pressure ways of doing it. So a few minutes worth of activity there, you could dedicate maybe an hour a day, and you will see new clients at the moment. The other thing to be aware of, a slightly more advanced technique, you could call it, is that Google pay-per-click right now is significantly dropped in cost. So the cost of a lead is much less than it was. And you need to look into this. It's generally not something you want to probably be spending your time managing yourself. So if you've got an outsourced team, get them to look at it. But it's a fantastic way of tapping into the increase in search volume right now. So there's a lot of volume around like work from home Basingstoke, or work from home York, or whatever, a regional spin on a particular term. And that again that's a global trend. It's not a regional specific one. So yeah, investing in that kind of pay-per-click activity is something might be worth looking into at the moment. And the other tip I have for you is to concentrate on your existing customers. Make sure they're being looked after. One example is that Microsoft on their YouTube channel, I should have done a screenshot really, but they have a list of little video nuggets similar to what we do actually for some of our product stuff. And you can grab one of those, embed it in an email, just put a link in, send it to your customers and just say, look, I know you're using Teams. Here's how to do document sharing, or here is how to run a webinar, or here's a tip on how to use Teams better. And just make sure they know they're being looked after, because it's so important that they don't end up going elsewhere, and that you're helping them during this really difficult time. So the more value you can provide there, the better. Fundamentally, that's my message really. Right now, you need to be building your audience. So it's not about selling. It's about reaching out there and getting as many people from as many different sources as you can onto your lists, your followings, your YouTube subscribers, your whatever it might be. Focus preferably on one platform if you can, and make sure that when you come out of this thing, you're in a really good place to hit the ground running, as I said in the opening section. Which leads me quite nicely into hopefully how we can help and some of the content we have available. I'm going to take a quick drink actually. Is everyone okay in the chat? Any comments on that stuff so far? In fact, let me know how are you finding it at the moment. Are you still running around doing the remote working setup stuff? Is it a quiet time for you? How's this week versus last week? What's the mood? I'd be really interested to know, what your kind of concerns are at the moment. Is it getting new business in? Is it looking after the business you've got? Right. Okay. That's interesting, John. Well, that's really good. Long may that continue. I guess it's difficult, isn't it? Because some of the companies I talk to, they say it's no problem at all. Well, we have all our customers are all fully, capable of remote working already, and they're just, it's an easy switch. And then others, it's, I guess a lot of it's sector specific as well, as to whether or not they're in a good position, ready to roll, and whether their business actually suits remote working for a start. Hey, Sean. Okay. Right. So you're getting to that stage where you're over that. This is the thing, isn't it? You've got that peak of interest, and then obviously it's then how do you manage it from there on, and how do you ensure that you can keep that business coming in, or looking after the customers and making sure that you're managing them without, through their difficult times when maybe they can't spend and what have you. So yeah, it's tricky. Yeah. Okay. So Kevin, you're saying about having a spike in support. Yeah, I guess that's absolutely going to happen. And of course, the other thing is, once you've got everyone set up, it's absolutely critical, isn't it? The security side of things, which I guess is why you earn the money when it comes to that sort of stuff. I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd be quite nervous about that. But there's some great solutions in place. So getting the security sorted once and for all is, I guess that's something you should do at the same time, really. So yeah, mostly setting up remote connections. Okay, good. Well, that's good to hear anyway, that there's certainly work coming in. So just in terms of the ways that we can help, I'm coming towards the end. I just want to show you a few marketing resources. Now, I know the timing arguably could be better, but we've got a really good report we've been working on, and I've been involved in this quite a bit because there's such a big shift at the moment. So this is not a stat that's going to surprise you in the slightest. So 40% increase in Teams usage. So, I mean, all that tells me is this move to the cloud is going to accelerate, quite frankly. And even when we go back to the normal, it's there's going to be far more in the way of remote working. And I think Microsoft are probably going to do very well out of it as as usual. So it's really important that we understand where archiving fits in this whole piece, and that's one of the reasons we commissioned this report. And obviously we did this before we knew about the current situation, but this is an independent piece of research that I would use for your teams for education. It's not necessarily something you want to send to a customer, but it is a really nice in-depth piece, independent, although we commissioned it. It is independent in terms of the look it takes at the Microsoft suite and the need for archiving. And basically, there's some key messaging in there. The first thing is you must have an independent copy of your data. So Microsoft have a shared responsibility model, and that means they haven't got a version of, they don't make backups that you can access. They make backups that they can use for disaster recovery. So there's a need to do something about taking care of having a copy of your data. The next logical step is, okay, well, I'll just get a backup solution then. And that's fine. You can get backup, and we do recommend that. But so many customers and even resellers don't appreciate the key differences between backup and archiving. And that's covered in this report, which is quite nice. Just in brief, the main ones are backup it tends to be snapshot based. So you take a backup, and there's a gap in between where potentially a user could delete a message, and we see that a lot. That's one of the main drivers, amazingly, is the accidental deletion or malicious deletion of people leaving a role and just blatting the mailbox. So it's really important that you archive at source. The other thing is with a backup solution, and it's not always the case, but typically it's locked away behind. It's not meant for quick access. It's locked away behind an admin, and they'll have to call you guys to get a message back, and you have some back and forth as to whether it's the right one and what the date range was that it was sent and all that stuff. With archiving, it's all about self-service. So it's independent, it's everything, and it's self-service. So it's there in Outlook for you to access at all times. So the two go really well together, and this report talks about it in more detail. The other thing is, of course, the management element of mailboxes. So, mailboxes do get large, and Outlook does slow down as a result. So it's a good practice to have that automatic mailbox management that MailStore offers. The other element of this report, and possibly one of the most important bits, is it'll help you get your head around what it is that Microsoft offer in the way of archiving, because it took me a while. There's a lot of features, free and paid. Litigation hold, retention policies, archiving to PST, the archive button. There's all sorts of various options available to you. And basically this sort of demystifies it, so it answers some of these key questions. If you haven't already seen this in the newsletter, I think it was, then or via your distributors yet, we put it out for end users, and there's a landing page here, but I don't expect you to fill that out unless you want to. You're not going to get harassed, but it's, we don't expect you as a reseller to have to do that. We've got a cheat sheet coming, so you'll have a nice 2-side 6-point key points summarized. So we'll get that over to you, and some various other materials as well to help there. So if you'd like a link to that, I'll include it in the follow-up email. So just drop us an email with a one line in there, and we'll get back to you and give you a summary of all that stuff. We've also been working on that's a lie, I haven't been working on it at all actually. Nick Cavalancia, a Microsoft MVP, has put together a really nice article for us on our blog, which is about the Exchange Server 2010 reaching end of support. I don't know if this is on your radar. I know a lot of us have been focused on Windows 7 and this has kind of gone by the wayside, but just to enhance and accelerate that already pretty quick movement to the cloud, then we've got the end of support of Exchange coming. So this talks about what your options are. So you can stay with what you've got, stay on premise, go to 365, and he talks about some of the reasons, the pros and cons. This is the bit I like down here. This has got this has basically got the reasons you'd want to use email archiving in this scenario. And for me, the bits that really stand out are you've got a huge amount of data you're potentially going to move to the cloud, and this is a really nice way to take a copy of it, to keep it in a deduplicated way. And because it's automatically then available to users, you've kind of got some flexibility as to whether you want to shift that whole lot to the cloud or whether you want to just put part of it in your 365 mailboxes. You can just start from inbox 0 if you want to. So it's a really nice way of kind of sorting out a otherwise messy Exchange installation with PSTs all over the place. You get the whole lot into your archive and then go from there. The other thing, of course, is if you're a legal or financial company, or if you've got legal or financial customers, then they're obviously going to want compliance. But also, if you just, most businesses really should have a complete record of their email. So, legal and HR teams, often need. I could do a whole webinar on that alone of what's in your mailbox and what you need to be backing up. But needless to say, there's often a requirement there from those teams. So have a look at that. Have a read. Again, I'll put the link in that follow-up email. I'm going to do some more webinars coming up. Hopefully, we'll do a bit more of a deep dive into some of these topics. I'd like to try and do as many sort of webinars as I can these days, really, and try and, if I can, hopefully do some. It'd be great to get some involvement from you guys too. So if any of you fancy having a chat with me, just like I have done with Bjoern, we can talk about a particular topic, and that may well be something that hopefully will be of interest to your customers and to other resellers as well. So there'll be webinars on this and more coming. So keep an eye out for those. Last but not least, our marketing team have put together a fantastic content playbook for you. So let me just show you this. Okay, so this is available in PDF form, and again, I'll send you a link to it. Brilliant, John. Yeah, I see your note there. Links to past webinars. Yes, I will. I'll include those. In fact, yeah, I'll keep that in mind. There's a few actually I can send you. So this, I'm not gonna go through this whole thing, but basically, this content playbook is really nice because it sums up a lot of the content we have and we keep it up to date. So we'll make this available via our disties and in our own partner portal. You've got MailStore blog, so if you have a look, all the articles are there. All the articles are there, Exchange, so on. And I'm going to zoom straight down. Well, first of all, I'll just show you. It includes tech tips. So we do these nuggets, like video nuggets of particular topics of MailStore, and they're really nice actually. They're really they just focus on one area. They're a few minutes long, so you can see they're all linked, so you can have a look at those. Great for training. This is worth a look. If you've got members of your team that are not currently at capacity, as I mentioned earlier with webinars and things, then these all linked to, I won't go to them now because I don't know what's going to happen in terms of window arrangement, but this will take you to YouTube videos for each one of these, and these are about 10-15 minutes sales training on customer challenges and solutions, and my aim is to very soon get a nice sales training session, nice and interactive with you guys. And likewise, we've also got a boot camp for the technical certification coming, and I know Zen are looking at something similar. So we are working on this stuff. But right now, watching some of these videos is a really nice introduction to the product and a good way of getting up to speed. Okay, right, great. So I'm just having a look at the comments. Yeah, so this week is slow and customers are all off site. Yeah, so if you've got capacity, I realise probably every vendor wants you to look at their products, but if you work with MailStore, then it's not a bad use of time to get up to speed on some of the newer sales angles, newer features. Everything you'd expect from a disty, your posters, your roll-ups and stuff, that's all in there. This is nice. If you ever have, I get asked for this a lot actually. If you're speaking to customers about renewals, like I mentioned, then that's a nice one to just add as an attachment. It's the 6 reasons you should be renewing, and it sums it up quite nicely. Another handout, and I'll zip you down to here where we've got email templates. So this is what they look like, various different topics, and it's basically a text and email. Graphic that you can put together as an email and send out. Now, of course, you need to be sensitive. We've just talked about the topics that are going to appeal at the moment, but it might form the basis for a campaign. You might fit in with some other activity you're doing. And essentially, the idea is that you combine these campaigns. So you do an awareness piece. So you talk about what is archiving and why do you need it, and then you've got the offer of you can either have 5 misconceptions, why IT admins should care about archiving, compliance, and then you've got a kind of a call to action one. So offer a demo, offer a webinar. And like I say, use us, because if you'd like demos and things doing, provided it's, I'm not pitching for a single 5 user installation, then I'm always more than happy to get involved and do webinars with you and talk to customers. I think we need to be supporting you as much as we can at the moment. And I'll just show you as well, we've got social media graphics now, so these are available. You can keep these on a kind of a drip feed on your LinkedIn pages, and that's just specific benefits. And we're trying to really step up our game on this one, try and have some more social graphics and more content for you. So we're working hard behind the scenes, honestly. So hopefully you'll see more and more of this, but this session was really just to make sure that I wanted to make contact, really, and there's only so many people you can ring. So, just to wrap up, last but not least, first of all, has anyone got any questions at this point? I'll just pause there for a second. I'll grab a drink again, I think. Obviously, if you do have any that I'm not addressing in this session, an excuse to use my coloured bar again. Okay, I think we're all good. CompTIA. I don't know how many of you are going to be aware of CompTIA. They are mainly known for technical certification training. They have a fantastic MSP community in the UK, in the US, Benelux, and Canada. They do some brilliant content, and I'm not really doing them justice by showing you this screen, really, but this is a really good webinar to be involved with. It's completely free. These guys just offer free, not just training, but sort of they bring you together with other like-minded MSPs, and this is every Friday. They do a particular specialist session, and it's all geared up around the fact that we're kind of in crisis conditions. Well, not kind of, we are in crisis conditions. And there's lots of things that we need to improve skills on. So this one is that one's on insurance, and they do a different focus, maybe a marketing focus next week. So I really recommend having a look at what CompTIA have to offer. I follow them on LinkedIn, so I can always see what's going on. Their community events are fantastic. I've been to a few in various different regions now, and it's really worth being involved in. There's all of the key industry players that I'm aware of are involved with CompTIA, so highly recommend having a look at that. The other one, and you'll have to act quickly on this if you're interested, is this is Fiona Chalice, and she presented at CompTIA, one of the community events, and I thought she was absolutely fantastic. And she's offering a free 21 days sales academy access here, and she covers some great topics. Watch this video. She does a nice job of explaining it. But it's things like some of the stuff I've covered, but in lots more detail. And this is her specialty. So, she really knows her stuff. Should I be prospecting, cold calling, marketing campaigns? How to keep cash flow coming in? How to keep our employees safe? Contracts, deferring payments, all that kind of stuff. All the stuff you're going through. I think she's really, really done well in terms of hitting the nail on the head. And she runs, I forget what they're called now, but I think it's something like a sales leads Monday, and then another topic. Is it there? No. She has, I think it's a Monday and a Thursday session, and they're totally free for now. So jump on that, learn what you can. If you get the recordings, great. If you can't make it live, but I highly recommend that one. Another good page for you. I don't know if you're familiar with Channel E2E, but these guys offer a long list of discounted or free software and applications from various different vendors, including Teams, of course. They do a 6-month free E1 plan, I think it is now. So there's lots of great stuff on there, and it's worth familiarizing yourself with it. I didn't add it actually, but Reddit MSP, that particular group, I use that a lot for just trying to keep in touch with what's going on, and they have something similar that's constantly updated. So yeah, use these free resources. I'm going to give a shout out to the Tech Tribe. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, and this definitely isn't a sell, but I've recently become a member, and it's run by a guy called Nigel Moore, and I just think it's an amazing community. And he's just put together an 88-page guide called Thrive and Survive, and it's just brilliant advice for MSPs in this time, and it's a really good community. So I'll leave it there. There's no affiliation or anything. I just think they're doing a brilliant job. So if you want to check out the Tech Tribe, then then please feel free to. So I think that was more or less it, really. I know it was a bit of a kind of a mishmash of a session there, what we can do, hopefully some useful tips and things. Thank you. I think I'm going slightly over on the time there. Did you have any questions? I'll just bring Bjoern in again. Bjoern, are you still with us? Oh, you're not if I have you on there. You're no, dark.
I'm dark. No. I've gone dark, yeah.
Excellent. So has anyone got any tricky questions for Bjoern? Make him earn his money at this time of night. Just before I leave you to go and join your wife. I think I can hear my kids fighting at bedtime. There's a slight, there's a slight delay. But I hope you found this useful. Keep in touch. I really like hearing from you guys, and of course, so do our distribution partners. I don't not just saying that. If you make contact and you've got any suggestions about the product or ideas for marketing and all that kind of stuff, then it's always really good to hear from you. And I work with lots of different regions, so sometimes it's hard to give the attention to every region that you might like to. So if you're the one raising your hand and saying, "Hey, we want to do something," then you'll probably get some attention. So keep that in mind. Okay, well listen, I'll wrap it up there. I think if you got no questions or comments or feedback on this, and don't forget a last shout. Can I put that on there? Oh no, I have to do that. So drop a mail to partners@mailstore.com, and we'll follow up. So business brains, you're more than welcome. You stay safe too, and of course that's the main thing. Stay safe and healthy, and look after yourselves. From myself and Bjoern, I think we'll call it a day there, Bjoern.
Exactly. Stay safe, everybody. Stay healthy.
Excellent. Look after yourselves, guys. Brilliant. Take care, CNC. I'll speak to you soon. All the best.